Ethan stepped onto Leora's homeworld with a sense of awe and determination. The crystalline fields stretched endlessly, reflecting light from the twin suns in a kaleidoscope of colors. The air was crisp and carried a faint hum of energy, as if the planet itself was alive. Leora walked beside him barefoot, each step deliberate and confident, her robe flowing with the rhythm of her movement. Despite the serene beauty around them, Ethan felt the weight of what lay ahead. The Carathi fleet was approaching, and every second mattered. Leora led him through the alien city, its towering spires made of glass-like material that shimmered in the light. Citizens of her species moved through the streets, pausing briefly to glance at the newcomers. There was a mixture of curiosity and skepticism in their eyes. Humans were rare here, and even fewer had survived interstellar travel to reach this world. Ethan could feel their cautious respect, but he also sensed the pressure of expectation. "This is your first impression of our people," Leora said softly. "They have lived in isolation for centuries. They do not easily trust outsiders, even one who fights alongside them." Ethan nodded, aware that his actions in the coming days would shape the alliance between humans and Leora's people. "I'll do my best," he said. Their first challenge came immediately. A Carathi scout ship appeared in the sky, sleek and black, moving with frightening speed. Alarms echoed through the city, and Leora's people scrambled to their posts. Ethan was guided to a command station, a control hub filled with alien technology he barely understood. Holographic displays projected tactical maps, showing enemy ships approaching from multiple vectors. "You will need to lead a squadron," Leora explained. "Your instincts, your unpredictability, these are our greatest advantage." Ethan studied the controls, feeling a mixture of fear and excitement. He had piloted spacecraft before, but these vessels were different, more advanced, more responsive, and linked to a network of alien systems. Taking a deep breath, he focused. "Let's begin," he said. The battle erupted with blinding speed. Carathi ships descended upon the planet, firing energy beams that scorched the fields and shook the city's foundations. Ethan guided a squadron of mixed human and alien pilots, weaving through enemy fire with precision. He shouted commands, relying on instinct and quick thinking to coordinate maneuvers that would confuse the enemy. Leora moved beside him, directing larger fleets with calm authority. Her presence was magnetic, inspiring the soldiers around her to act with courage and confidence. Together, they became a force neither the Carathi nor any other species could easily predict. Despite the chaos, Ethan noticed the humans and aliens working in perfect harmony. Alien pilots adapted to his strategies, trusting his judgment even as the battle raged. He marveled at their willingness to follow, a testament to the bond forming between him and Leora. Hours passed in a blur of combat, and yet the Carathi pressed on relentlessly. They were powerful, well-coordinated, and seemingly unstoppable. Ethan felt the weight of every decision, every maneuver. One mistake could cost countless lives suddenly. A massive Carathi warship broke through the defenses, heading straight for the city's heart. Ethan's heart pounded. This was the test, the moment that would determine the fate of the planet. Leora turned to him, her eyes locking with his. "Now," she said. "Do what only humans can do." Ethan understood immediately. Human unpredictability, the ability to improvise, was their secret weapon. He devised a bold plan, one that no alien or machine could anticipate. Using a combination of feints, decoys, and rapid maneuvers, he guided his squadron to lure the warship into a trap where Leora's forces could strike with maximum effect. The plan worked. The warship was caught off guard, and coordinated attacks from both human and alien forces damaged its shields. Sparks flew across the viewports, and Ethan felt a surge of exhilaration as the enemy began to falter. Leora's voice came through the comms, steady and calm. "Hold the line. We are not done yet." As the battle continued, Ethan noticed that the Carathi were retreating in smaller waves, trying to regroup, but Leora had anticipated this. She activated a network of planetary defenses, energy barriers, and automated turrets that humans would not have imagined. Ethan guided his squadron through the remaining enemy ships, combining strategy with raw instinct. By the end of the engagement, Carathi were forced to retreat, leaving the planet battered but intact. Citizens poured into the streets, cheering, their eyes wide with relief and admiration. Ethan looked at Leora, who stood tall and calm, barefoot on the crystalline ground, her robe catching the sunlight. There was pride in her expression, also gratitude, a silent acknowledgement of the human spirit that had turned the tide. "Humans are remarkable," she said softly as they walked through the recovering city. "Your courage and adaptability saved countless lives." Ethan smiled, though he was still catching his breath. "It was teamwork. We did this together." Leora nodded, but there was something more in her eyes, a connection forged not only through victory, but through trust, respect, and shared purpose. She paused near a reflective pool of liquid crystal, motioning for Ethan to stand beside her. "You are remarkable today," she said, her voice carrying warmth and sincerity. "But this is only the beginning. There will be other threats, other challenges. You must be ready." Ethan felt the weight of her words, but also the strength of their bond. He realized that courage was not just about facing the enemy, it was about standing with someone you trusted, learning from them, and believing in the impossible. He looked at Leora, her feet touching the crystal surface, the sunlight glinting off her robe, and felt a sense of connection deeper than anything he had known in the days that followed. Ethan trained with Leora and her people, learning their tactics and sharing human strategies. He taught them improvisation, unpredictability, and the value of instinct. While they taught him to harness alien technology with precision, the humans stationed on the planet became a bridge between two species, showing that collaboration could overcome even the most advanced enemies. The citizens began to see humans differently. Where there had been skepticism, there was now respect. Where there had been caution, there was trust. And in this process, Ethan and Leora's partnership became a symbol of unity, a beacon of hope that transcended species, culture, and history. One evening, after another long day of preparation and training, Ethan and Leora stood on a hill overlooking the city. The twin suns were setting, casting long shadows and bathing the world in a golden glow. Leora's robe shimmered in the fading light, and she stood barefoot, as always, a figure of calm and strength. "You have changed more than just this planet," Leora said quietly. "You have shown that humans can inspire, lead, and protect. You have proven that courage is not defined by size, technology, or species. It is defined by spirit." Ethan looked at her, feeling a mix of pride, humility, and something else, something unspoken but powerful. "I never thought humans could make this much difference," he admitted. "But seeing it here, with you, I understand. We are capable of more than we imagine." Leora stepped closer, her eyes meeting his. "And we will face whatever comes next together. Humans and my people united. That is how we survive. That is how we thrive." Ethan nodded, feeling a sense of certainty he had never known before. The battle had tested him, pushed him to his limits, and shown him the power of collaboration, trust, and courage. And standing here with Leora, he understood that the human spirit was not just a tool of survival, it was a force that could inspire civilizations and change the course of the galaxy. As night fell and the stars emerged, Ethan and Leora remained on the hill, silent but connected. Watching the city recover and the people celebrate, the Carathi had been defeated, but the future remained uncertain. Yet with trust, courage, and determination, they would face it together. Ethan realized that the words she had spoken when they first met your mind tonight had meant something far deeper than he had first understood. It was not a claim of possession, but a recognition of partnership, trust, and shared purpose. In that moment, he felt the full weight of their connection, and he knew that no matter what the galaxy held, they would meet it together. The world was quiet now, peaceful in the aftermath of chaos. Ethan looked at Leora, and for the first time, he felt a sense of belonging here, on an alien world, with a species he had never known, and with a partner who had trusted him when the odds were impossible. The stars above shimmered like diamonds, reflecting the light of hope and courage, and for the first time in a long while, Ethan Rowe felt truly ready for whatever came next. He had faced danger, forged alliances, and discovered that humans were capable of greatness beyond imagination. And with Leora by his side, he knew that the galaxy would never forget what humans could do. They remained there long into the night, barefoot on the crystalline hill, as the twin moons rose, casting a soft glow across the land. It was a quiet moment of triumph, a moment of reflection, and a moment of connection that neither would ever forget. Together, they had changed the fate of a world. Together, they had shown that courage, intelligence, and heart could overcome even the most formidable challenges. And in that quiet, shimmering night, Ethan understood the true meaning of the words she had spoken. It was not about fear or possession. The space station hung silently above the edge of the Veralia system, its metallic frame glinting under the faint light of distant stars. Captain Ethan Rowe sat alone in his quarters. The hum of the station's engines and the occasional chirp of maintenance drones, the only companions to his thoughts. His hands were covered in grease, remnants of the long hours he had spent repairing the ship's engines after a perilous mission through the asteroid belt. The mission had been taxing, even for a human, and the solitude of the station seemed both comforting and heavy. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his tired eyes, and allowed himself a moment of rest. A soft chime echoed through his quarters, signaling an incoming visitor. It was unusual at this hour. Few would come, and Ethan's instincts told him to be cautious. He stood and moved toward the door, his hand resting lightly on the handle of the sidearm he kept holstered at his belt. The door hissed open, and the corridor beyond was empty. Confused, he stepped outside, scanning the dimly lit hallways. There was a faint shimmer near the observation deck, like the light bending around a figure he could barely make out. Then she appeared, Leora. She moved with an almost unnatural grace, barefoot and silent, her robe catching faint starlight and fluttering around her like liquid silver. Ethan froze. He had seen many alien species in his time, but none had moved with this kind of presence. There was authority in the way she carried herself, yet also a quiet vulnerability that made her seem human in ways that were impossible. She stopped a few feet away, letting her robe fall slightly, not as a threat but as a gesture of trust. Her eyes met his, a calm, piercing gaze that seemed to look straight into his soul. "You're mine tonight," she said, her voice firm yet strangely gentle. Ethan's mind raced. He didn't fully understand what she meant, but the tone was not threatening. It was a statement of intent, a declaration of purpose. He kept his hand near his sidearm, but he did not raise it. There was something in her presence that made hesitation seem unnecessary. "I'm Captain Ethan Rowe," he managed, his voice steady despite the sudden rush of adrenaline. "Why are you here?" Leora's lips curved slightly. "I am Leora. I come from a world that is in great danger. Your species is strong, adaptable, and capable. We need you. I need you." Her words carried weight, and Ethan felt a strange mix of awe and responsibility settle over him. She led him to the observation deck, where the view of the Veralia system stretched infinitely. Ethan followed silently, noting how the faint glow of her skin seemed almost to reflect the stars themselves. Once they reached the deck, Leora raised a hand, and a holographic projection materialized before them. Ethan's eyes widened. The image showed a fleet of ships, sleek and deadly, moving with lethal precision toward Veralia. "They are called the Carathea," Leora explained. "They destroy everything in their path. Planets, civilizations, entire species. My homeworld is next. I have traveled far seeking one who can help us resist them." Ethan's heart thudded. He had fought in many battles, but the scale of this threat was unprecedented. The Carathea were not just an enemy, they were a force of nature. And somehow, Leora believed humans could make a difference. "How? How can I help?" he asked, his mind already running through possibilities. Leora turned to him, her expression serious. "Your species has qualities we do not. Unpredictability, courage, the ability to improvise in ways that machines and rigid tactics cannot. You could lead our people in a way they cannot." The weight of her words pressed on him. He had always been proud of humanity, their ingenuity, and resilience. But to be entrusted with the survival of another world was something entirely different. And yet, looking at her, Ethan felt a surge of determination. "I will help," he said finally. "Tell me what I need to do." Leora's face softened, and for a moment, the tension between them seemed to dissolve. She motioned for him to follow, leading him into a section of the station that was unfamiliar to him. Panels of alien technology lined the walls, glowing softly with unknown energy. Ethan's eyes roamed over the controls, impressed by the sophistication and elegance of the systems. "These are the defenses of my world," Leora explained. "We have prepared, but we cannot face the Karathi alone. You will need to understand our technology and integrate it with human tactics. Only then will we have a chance." Ethan nodded, absorbing the information as best he could. He had always prided himself on his ability to learn quickly, and he knew that failure was not an option. The survival of Varelion and perhaps countless other worlds rested on his shoulders as they worked together. Leora demonstrated her abilities. Her hands moved over the controls with precision, inputting commands that Ethan barely understood, yet somehow he could see the logic in her actions. There was a rhythm to her movements, a harmony between mind and machine that was mesmerizing. Hours passed, and Ethan began to feel the weight of exhaustion again. Leora noticed and placed a hand on his shoulder, her touch light but grounding. "Rest, human," she said. "You will need your strength." He allowed himself a brief moment of relief, leaning back as she continued to monitor the systems. In the quiet that followed, couldn't help but notice the humanity in her the way she paused to consider his advice. The way her eyes softened when she sensed his fatigue. It was a strange and comforting connection, forged not through words alone, but through shared purpose. The night deepened, and Ethan realized that he had learned more from Leora in these few hours than he had from years of exploration and combat. Her presence was commanding, yet reassuring, and he felt a bond forming, one that transcended species, one that was rooted in trust, respect, and the shared understanding of the stakes at hand. Suddenly, the station's alarms blared. Red lights flashed, and the floor vibrated beneath their feet. Ethan sprang to action, his training kicking in as he assessed the situation. Leora's calm remained unshaken, and she moved with him, coordinating responses and guiding him through alien procedures. "They are approaching faster than anticipated," she said, her voice steady. "The Karathi fleet is almost here." Ethan's mind raced. There was no time for fear, only action. He worked alongside Leora, integrating human strategies with alien technology. Together, they began to prepare the defenses, setting up contingencies, analyzing potential weak points, and synchronizing their forces as the hours passed. Ethan realized something extraordinary. Humans and Leora's species shared a rare compatibility in thought and approach. Their minds seemed to complement each other, allowing them to anticipate moves, predict outcomes, adapt in ways that were almost instinctive. He felt a surge of pride. This was what humanity could do, what humans were capable of when faced with unimaginable odds. Finally, the defenses in place, Leora turned to him. "We leave for my homeworld at dawn," she said. "There, the battle will truly begin. Will you come with me?" Ethan hesitated for only a moment, then nodded. "I will." As the first light of Varelia's distant sun began to peek over the horizon, Leora extended her hand. Ethan took it, feeling the warmth and strength in her grip. Without another word, she led him to a portal, its shimmering surface reflecting the stars like a liquid mirror. Together, they stepped through, leaving the station behind. The stars bent and swirled around them, a breathtaking display of interstellar travel that left Ethan momentarily speechless. He could feel the energy of the portal, the promise of adventure and danger, and the weight of the responsibility that lay ahead. When the light faded, they stood on the surface of Leora's homeworld. The ground beneath their feet glowed faintly, crystalline structures rising toward the sky, catching the light in a way that made the entire landscape seem alive. Ethan looked around in awe, marveling at the beauty and strangeness of this alien world. Leora turned to him, barefoot and poised, her robe flowing gracefully around her. "Welcome," she said softly. "This is where we will fight. This is where we will prove that humans can make a difference." Ethan nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and apprehension. He knew the challenges ahead would be unlike anything he had faced before. But he also knew that with Leora at his side, there was hope. Together, they would confront the Carathi, and together, they would show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. As the sun rose higher, casting light across the crystal fields, Ethan felt a sense of purpose he had never known. This was more than a mission. This was a chance to make history, to stand as a testament to the courage, adaptability, and indomitable spirit of humanity. And as he glanced at Leora, he knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together, stronger, braver, and united against the darkness. The night had passed. The journey had begun. And somewhere deep inside, Ethan understood that this was only the beginning of a story that would echo across the stars.